What's good, Hoopers? It's been a while, but we're back again with another podcast. This is episode 5 of DJ's Locker Room, where I talk about all things NBA and WNBA. For those returning to the channel, thank you for the support. Continue to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. For those new to DJ's Locker Room, welcome, and I hope you enjoy Hoops conversations and all the content that I will be posting soon. So let's get right to it.
Who won't stop us now? Who won't stop us now? Who won't stop us now?
First thing I want to talk about in the locker room today is the early surprises around the NBA. The downfall of the 76ers needs to be studied. They've started off the season 13-14, bottom of the East, bottom of the league. Now they're 21-38. No Joel Embiid for the remainder of the season, and Paul George has played sparingly at the moment. And they've both expressed not playing back-to-back games this season. I'm not sure if they had the luxury to do this starting off, but that's definitely not the case, trying to get back into the playoff race, if that's even a possible factor. The margin for error is slim to none. I think it's not even slim, it's probably just none. I personally was not sold on the Paul George edition, only because he, like Joel Embiid, is injury prone. I'm also not on the 76ers train, because it's time the organization and the city have a real conversation about the trust the process phase. How much longer of a process do you need? That seems to be over. Embiid is not the guy that'll bring you a championship. He couldn't bring you out of the Eastern Conference semis. I'm not saying this just because I'm a Celtics fan, but a general hoops fan. Ain't nobody worried about the Philadelphia 76ers. The Milwaukee Bucks are 34-25 and couldn't seem to learn how to play team basketball or win early this season. Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo are huge concerns in terms of playing off of each other. It seemed like they didn't know how to coexist, but they've picked up a couple wins, given the East does have weaker teams, so take that for what it's worth. I wonder what they worked on during the offseason. I get that it was, Olympics and stuff like that, but the time was there. It was possible for you to figure out something for, a couple weeks just to learn each other and gain that chemistry that's needed for championship teams to thrive. Giannis is creating an unstable narrative when it comes to his security with the Bucks organization. Dame is displaying that he can't play with another All-Star or future Hall of Famer. Coaching is certainly an issue with the Bucks as well. They have Doc Rivers at the helm, but he's proven time after time that he can't lead a great team to the promised land. He did it in Boston, but you can also say that was destined to win regardless of who the coach was. The Bucks have like 3 or 4 previous coaches still on the payroll because they just keep firing them year after year after year. So Doc really can't get fired. They can't afford that as an organization to pay another coach that's not producing anything with the team. During the trade deadline, the Bucks did acquire Kyle Kuzma for Chris Middleton, who was struggling with injury the past few seasons and is yet to return to his old self. So far, the acquisition has benefited the Bucks, but they still have a lot to prove to put themselves in the championship contender conversation. Kawhi Leonard has seldomly put on a Los Angeles Clippers jersey. This isn't really a surprise because we've seen the same activity or lack of for the past 5 or 6 seasons. It's crazy to think about this because he's literally robbing the Clippers of millions. For a while, I thought the league was going to slowly move away from their guaranteed contracts and merge into like a pay-for-play type of format, because guys like Kyrie and Ben Simmons were definitely encouraging the thought of, well, you're getting paid millions and yet you're just deciding when you want to play and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But instead of the pay-for-play format, they've agreed to the new 65-game rule, which simply means that in order to qualify for postseason awards like MVP, Rookie of the Year, and all the other stuff, you have to play a minimum of 65 games. Luka was a victim of this last year, I believe, where he didn't make the cut because of injury, so he wasn't able to be in the running for MVP or Most Improved or any other awards. I may have to break down the pros and cons of this, I may have to break down the pros and cons of this in the future open courts, but we'll see. The fall for the Minnesota Timberwolves is very interesting to watch this year. The team made some moves before the season started, trading Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a couple other pieces. It was pretty wild. Cowboys essential to the T-Wolves building their organization to where it is now. All parties are under construction now. They're both trying to gain chemistry and consistency, I have noticed that Anthony Edwards is taking a lot more threes than last season, which is unusual for the young star because of his explosiveness and, you know, you'd say Mamba mentality, just kind of go get it mental state that he has. His relentless aggression at the rim is what made him unique and separated his edge from the league. Some teams have a small window to win, like the Bucks and the Nuggets when they both won their championships, respectively. Was the T-Wolves' year last season to get it done? I think we'll find out in the next 3 years, possibly. It'll be interesting to see if they could turn around this season or if they just need a whole fresh start, and we'll see what happens next year. Everyone else around the NBA seems to be on par with expectations. The Cavs have the best record in the league because they, much like the Celtics and Thunder, have been playing with each other for a number of years. Some of the worst teams in the league are the Washington Wizards, New Orleans Pelicans, Hornets, Utah Jazz. These are zero surprises for anyone, and I expect it to be the exact same next year. Over in the WNBA, there was an expansion taking place. In 2025, this upcoming season, the Golden State Valkyrie will be the newest WNBA team. In 2026, 2 more teams will be added in Portland and Toronto. So that's exciting stuff. The expansion draft took place on December 6th. And for those who are unfamiliar with how this process works, let me explain it to you real quick. Each team must submit a list of 6 protected players to the WNBA, and all the other players are entered into the expansion draft. The Valkyrie's new roster is going to be posted on the screen here shortly. And for those listening on Spotify, I'll just read them out loud. Carla Late, Stephanie Talbot, Tamay Fagbinley, Veronica Burton, Julie Van Loo, Chloe Bibby, Janelle Solon, Kyara Linskins, Kayla Thornton, Elisa Kanane, Letitia Amihir, Tiffany Hayes, Kate Martin, and Monique Billings. Pretty decent team to me. Players that I'm sure are ecstatic for a bigger role for the new franchise. I'll be doing more research on these players to get y'all the information for the next pod for this. The WNBA draft lottery also took place during this long break, and here's how it turned out. The 5th pick goes to the Golden State Valkyrie. 4th pick goes to the Washington Mystics, who finished their season 14-26. The 3rd pick will be by the Chicago Sky. They ended their season 13-27. The Los Angeles Sparks get the 2nd pick with an 8-32 record. And the Dallas Wings get the number 1 pick, finishing 9-31. My predicted number 1 pick is Paige Buckers, senior guard at University of UConn. Last season, Paige was injury-free, so her talents were on full display, and we thank God for that. All I'm saying is she's a certified bucket. She averaged 22 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Her shooting splits were 53% from the field, 42% from 3, and 83% from the free throw line. With Paige's playmaking abilities, this draft pick could be a perfect combination for Arike Agubawale. Until then, we pray Paige stays healthy and she could put together another great and final season at UConn. The last thing to discuss in the WNBA is the rapid firing of head coaches around the league. On the screen is a list of coaches who lost their positions this offseason. Tanisha Wright was let go from the Atlanta Dream after 3 seasons. The Dream did make the playoffs after getting swept by the New York Liberty in 2 games. They have a strong foundation of talent with Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray leading the crew. Kurt Miller was fired from the Los Angeles Sparks after just 2 years with them. I believe last season was intended to go smoother, but the injuries to Cameron Brink and health issues with Lexi Brown really held them back from the success early in the season. Christy Sides and the Indiana Fever surprisingly parted ways after 2 seasons. The new hire for the Fever is Stephanie White from the Connecticut Sun, who took the Minnesota Lynx to 5 games in the Western Conference Finals. The Washington Mystics fired Eric Thibault, I think that's how you say his name, after 2 seasons. Latricia Trammell was also relieved of her duties from the Dallas Wings. And finally, Teresa Witherspoon from the Chicago Sky was fired after just 1 season with the team. For the most part, I don't understand the justification for these team decisions. But I don't get paid to, have those conversations anyway. So that's not what I'm worried about. I'm just sharing with y'all what's happening in the W. On today's Open Court, I'll be ranting about the NBA's drafting on potential instead of proven production and knowledge of the game. So here we go. If I were a GM or owner, it makes sense to draft older players that have played a good brand of basketball and have displayed winning tendencies, right? It doesn't seem like that makes a lot of sense to a number of organizations as they draft younger talent in hopes that they figure it out in the league with the lack of guidance that they're giving them. I understand some college players, either one and done or the 5th or 5 year guys, have to adjust to the speed of the game and other aspects of the NBA. But wouldn't you have more confidence in someone who has played in a pro system for a number of years before making the leap to the big stage? It looks to be a bit backwards to me. Organizations are looking at the 18 and 19-year-olds to be the franchise guys, while the college vets end up being the role players or glue guys. There are only a handful of players in the world, maybe even in a lifetime, that can lead a franchise as a teenager. Some examples off the top would be LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's, Victor Wembanyama. The list can go on. If I do more in-depth research, the list can go on with in-depth research, but more young players chosen to be the franchise have not really panned out. What will it take for GMs to open their eyes and see that older players in college know how to play great basketball and deserve a chance to lead an organization instead of coming into the league to turn into a 3-and-D guy? I'll die on this hill that older players are not given the same opportunity to lead teams to championships like the one and done, 18 and 19-year-olds are. Well, that's a wrap for DJ's Locker Room. Quick to the point episode today. I greatly appreciate all those that are watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify. Continue to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave some comments and questions that you want me to answer or also bring up on, the next episodes to come. Again, thank you to everyone who's supporting. But until the next episode, remember that it's a great day to have a great day. Stay blessed. Peace.